justice to it. Please bless me. Okay. So today we'll be discussing the 6th chapter of the 6th canto, which is titled "The Progeny of the Daughters of the Progeny." It's titled one second, please. Some problem. Oh, okay. So it's titled "The Progeny of the Daughters of Daksha." The link to this chapter, as we have seen yesterday, as Kripalu Prabhu wonderfully presented, the sons of Daksha, the Haryashvas, they all took to the renounced order of life after heeding to the instruction of Narada Muni, and they all left home and never returned back. And the Daksha became extremely angry with Narada Muni because they were meant to create progeny to fill this universe with living entities, but that could not be done. And therefore, he cursed Narada Muni to never be able to stay in one place. So, although after that Daksha was disgusted with household life, Lord Brahma once again instructed him to beget children again, but this time he made sure to conceive daughters instead of sons, so that they are all, as Prabhupada terms it, as saved from the instructions of Narad Muni, so that they cannot take up renounced order of life. But we all know that is Narad Muni and his divine methods. So Daksha simply does this so as to create a progeny to fill this material world. Can any devotee please read the summary?
Hare Krishna. As described in this chapter, Prajapati Daksha begot 60 daughters in the womb of his wife Asni. These daughters were given in charity to various persons to increase the population. Since these offsprings of Daksha were women, Narada Muni did not try to lead them towards the renounced order of life. Thus the daughters were saved from Narada Muni. 10 of the daughters were given in marriage to Dharmaraj, 13 to Kashyapa Muni, and 27 to the moon god Chandra. In this way, 50 daughters were distributed, and the other 10 daughters, 4 were given to Kashyapa, and 2 each to Bhuta, Angira, and Krishashva. One should know that it is because of the union of these 60 daughters with various exalted personalities that the entire universe was filled with the various kinds of living entities such as human beings, demigods, demons, beasts, birds, and serpents.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So going forward with the overview of this chapter, the verses 1 to 3 are talk about the 60 daughters that are conceived by Daksha, and it's supposed to be a Sikni. Sorry, there's a mistake. 4 to 10, it talks about the 10 daughters who were given to Yamaraja and their descendants. 11 to 16 are the descendants of the 8 Vasus. And 7 to 20, progeny of Bhuta, Angira, and Krishashva. And the last section, 21 to 44, are the children conceived by Kashyapa and his wives. So, discussing verses 1 to 3. The first verse, I'll just read the shloka in translation. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tatah Pracheta Soshiknyam Anunita Swayambhuva Shashtim Sanjanayam Asa Dukriti Pitravatsala. Translation. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, thereafter, at the request of Lord Brahma, Prajapati Daksha, who is known as Prachetasa, begot 60 daughters in the womb of his wife Asikni. All the daughters were very affectionate towards their father. So, in the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada writes that Daksha begot daughters so as to they could not so they could not take to the renounced order of life, because females are not meant for sannyasa. They should be faithful to their husbands, and if they are faithful and chaste, then they will earn all the profit that the husband earns at the end of their life. In relation to this, I found a purport from the fourth canto. If any devotee can please read it.
In Vedic civilization, a man is taught from the beginning of his life to become a brahmachari, then an ideal grahastha, then vanaprastha, then sannyasi, and wife is taught just to follow the husband strictly in all conditions of life. After a period of brahmacharya, man accepts the household life, and woman also taught her parents to be chaste wife. Thus, when girl and boy are united, both are trained for the life dedicated to a higher purpose. A boy is trained to execute his duty in accordance with the higher purpose of life. A girl is trained to follow him. The chaste wife's duty is to keep her husband pleased in householder's life in all respects. And when the husband retired from the family life, she used to go to the forest and adopt the life of Vanaprastha and Vanavasi. At that time, the wife is also follow her husband and take care of him. Just she took care of him in householder's life. But when the husband takes the renounced order of life, namely sannyasa, wife is to return home and become saintly woman, sitting an example for her children and daughter-in-law, and showing them how to live life of austerity.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So this again talks about how instead of taking to the renounced order of life, the only duty of a female till her husband is in the stage of vanaprastha or vanavasi is to serve him, and then after that, when he takes sannyasa, they must go back to their normal duties instead of following him even in the sannyasa stage. So this is how the life of a woman should be led, according to Srila Prabhupada. Now, continuing with the daughters of Daksha, the 10 daughters of Daksha married Dharmaraj. 17 of them got married to Kashyapa. 27 daughters married Moon God, and 2 daughters each got married to Atigira, Krishashva, and Bhuta. Now, we will discuss the 10 daughters of Daksha and their descendants, and they got married to Yamaraj. So I've just made a flowchart to make it simpler. So from Bhanu came Deva Rishabha, from Lamba came Vidyota, and Vidyota's descendants were the clouds. From Kakut came Sankata, from Sankata came Kikata, and from Kikata came the demigod named Durga. From Yami came Swarga, and Nandi the bull is a descendant of Swarga. From Vishwa came the Vishwadevas, from Sadhya came the Sadhyas, and the Sadhyas begot sons who were led by Artha Siddhi. From Marutvati came Marutvan and Jayanta. From the Muhurta came the Mahurtikas. And from the Sankalpa came Sankalpa. And from Vasu came the 8 Vasus: Drona, Prana, Dhruva, Arka, Agni, Dosha, Vastu, and Vibhash Vasu. So I don't think there's anything to explain in this part, but going forward, we take the descendants of the 8 Vasus, who are the descendants of Vasu, one of the wives of Yamaraj. So from Drona and his wife Abhimati come Harsha, Shoka, Bhaya, and others. From the womb of Urjaswati come Saha, Ayush, and Purojava. Various cities are produced from the womb of Dharani. Vasana and Arka give birth to Tarsha and others. Agni possesses 2 wives, Dhara and Kritika. From Dhara comes Dravinaka and others, and from Kritika comes Skanda or Lord Kartikeya, and from Lord Kartikeya comes Vishaka and following descendants. From Dosha and his wife Sharvari comes Shishumara, who is also an expansion of the Supreme Lord. From Vastu and Angirasi comes Vishwakarma, the divine architect, as we all know. And from Vishwakarma and his wife Akriti come Chakshusha Manu, and from Chakshusha Manu comes Vishwadevas and the Sadhyas. And lastly, from the womb of Usha comes Vyusta, Rochisha, and Atapa. And from Atapa comes Panchayama, which is also the span of day, the time of day, that is Panchayama. So going forward to the two wives married to Bhuta, Angira, and Krishashva each. So Bhuta's two wives and their children include Sarupa, who gave birth to 10 million Rudras, who are led by the 11 principal Rudras: Raivata, Aja, Bhava, Bhima, Vama, Ugra, Vrishakapi, Ajaikapat, Ahir, Bradna, Bahurupa, and Mahan. And the second wife, her name is not mentioned, but she gave birth to the Pretas and the Vinayakas, who are associates of the Rudras. Angira's two wives are Swadha and Sati. I am still confused of how Sati, being daughter of Daksha, is married to Angira and not Lord Shiva. If anyone could check that, please. But as given in the translation, it is said that Swadha gave birth to the Pitras and Sati gave birth to the Atharva Angirasa Veda. And Krishashva's wives were the Archis and Dhisana. Archis gave birth to Dhumaketu, and Dishana gave birth to 4 sons: Vedashira, Devala, Vayuna, and Manu. The last section are the children conceived by Kashyapa and his wives. The first 4 wives of Kashyapa are Patangi, from whom came many kinds of birds. From Yamini came locusts. From Vinata, or who is also known as Suparna, came Garuda, who is the Vahana of Lord Vishnu, and Aruna or Anuru, who is the chariot driver of the sun god. And lastly, from Kadru came different varieties of serpents. So after this, the wives of the moon god are explained. Who were they? And we come to know that all the Kritikas were the wives of the moon god, but because he was very attached to Rohini, he neglected. Rohini was one of the wives. Because he was very attached to her, he neglected all the other wives, and therefore, seeing this partiality and bereavement of his other daughters, Prajapati Daksha became angry and cursed him. He took away all his light that he emits. And in the next verse, we see that he pacified Daksha and regained the portions of light he had lost during his disease. And therefore, during the dark fortnight, he loses his shining power, and during the bright fortnight, it manifests again. So this causes the waxing and waning of the moon. So again, continuing with the 10 wives of Kashyapa. So can anyone please read the wives and then what comes from them, if possible?
Hare Krishna. Timi, aquatics, and Sarama, ferocious animals like the tigers and lions. Surabhi, cows and other animals with cloven hooves. Tamra, eagles, vultures, and other large birds of prey. Muni, apsaras, angels. Krodavasa, serpents known as Dandasuka, other serpents and mosquitoes. Ila, various creepers and trees. Surasha, Rakshasas. Arishta, Gandharvas. Kasta, animals whose hooves are not split. Example, horses. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Praveen. So these are the next 10 wives of Kashyapa and what came from them. And the last 2 wives are Danu and Aditi. From Kashyapa and Danu came 61 sons, and 18 of them were very important: Vimurdha, Shambara, Arista, Hayagriva, Vibhavasu, Ayomukha, Shankushira, Svarbhanu, Kapila, Aruna, Puloma, Vrishaparva, Ekachakra, Anutapana, Dhumrakesha, Virupaksha, Viprachitti, and Durjaya. And out of these 18, only three actually, but okay. Only four are discussed, and the descendants of four are given. From Swarbhanu, his daughter was Suprabha, and she got married to Namuchi. Vrishaparva gave birth to his daughter Sharmishta, and she got married to King Yayati, who is the son of Nahusha. And we will study about them later in the Bhagavata. Vaishvanara had four daughters, Upadanavi, Hayashira, Puloma, and Kalaka. And Puloma and Kalaka were again married to Kashyapa Muni on the order of Lord Brahma, and they had 60,000 sons. Upadanavi married Hiranyaksha, who we know, the brother of Hiranyakashipu, and Hayashira married Kratu. Viprachiti married Simhika, and they had 101 sons, who is headed by Rahu, and 100 Ketus, and all of them have attained positions as planets. So the last wife of Kashyapa is Aditi, and the Supreme Lord descended by his plenary expansion as one of her sons. So she gave birth to the 12 Adityas: Vivasvan, Aryama, Pusha, Tvashta, Savita, Bhaga, Dhata, Vidhata, Varuna, Mitra, Satru, and Urukrama. So Vivasvan, who is the sun god, had two wives. He had Samya and Chaya, and from Samya he had Shraddha Deva and who is also Manu, and the twins Yamaraja and Yamuna, who is also known as Yami. Further, Yami gives birth to the Ashwini Kumaras in the form of a mare. And from his second wife Chaya, he has two sons, Shanaishchara, who is the planet Saturn, and Savarni Manu. And from them comes one daughter. Prabhuji, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, yes.
And from them comes one daughter, Tapati, who is married to Samvarana. From one of the Adityas called Aryama and his wife Matrika, who is his wife, many learned scholars come, and the human species endowed with an aptitude for self-examination created by Lord Brahma are the descendants of these learned scholars. So Pusha actually was one of the attendees in the ceremony of Daksha where Lord Shiva was offended, and because he laughed very loudly when Lord Shiva got angry and he showed his teeth broke, and he had to consume ground flour for the rest of his life, and because of the curse he had no sons. The last Aditya that we will see is Tvashta, and he married Rachana, who is the daughter of the Daityas, and they gave birth to Sannivesha and Vishwarupa. But even though Vishwarupa was the descendants of the Daityas, the demigods accepted him as their guru, because Lord Brahma gave them the instruction to do so, as they were in lack of a guru because they offended their spiritual master Brihaspati. So Hare Krishna, this was a very short chapter and there was no philosophy, just explanation of the wives and their descendants. Please correct me if I made any mistakes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nadashruti. I don't know what to say for this. We are very fortunate to got such a nice small chapter. Regarding the moon, the moon wife, the Rohini. Basically, what happened, that he had a 27 wife, right? Moon married.
Yes,
26 or
27 Kritikas, yeah.
Yeah, 27, right? Yeah. So moon god, he had so much attached with only Rohini, and he totally neglected other 26 other wives. And she, other all 26 daughters, they went and complained her father, Daksha. He's not carrying, totally neglecting her, he's only after Rohini. Then Daksha got angry and he curses Moon, he loses all shyness. Then moon they went and take the shelter of Lord Shiva. That's why Shiva keep the moon on his head. Like that. Then suddenly moon is missing. Again, doctor went and complained Lord Shiva. Sorry, Daksha. What happened? Where is my husband? Husband is missing like that. Then ultimately Daksha found out it is Lord Shiva. So he went to try to study to Kailash. And this time Shiva nicely welcomed him, nicely giving all the respect and everything. And moon was, Daksha was very happy. Okay, Shiva did welcome nicely. Then later on, he asked, can you do one thing? Can you release the moon? I want my daughter's name. And since Shiva said, I already given the shelter to moon, and I don't want him to lose all his shyness. There's some argument take place. Ultimately, it reach up to the level of fighting each other. By that time, Lord Vishnu comes in. He makes some truce between these two parties. Ultimately, he said, they made an agreement. So 15 days, he loses his shyness, and 15 days, he get back his shyness. So that is the reason that Krishna Paksha and Shukla Paksha comes actually. But at the same time, in the cosmology, we heard that the moon gets the shyness because it brings the somaras. That's what he heard from this, what is the provision?
Pavaneshwar Prabhu.
Pavaneshwar.
Praneshwar Prabhu, yeah, that's what he said. So how to correlate these two factors now?
Oh, I thought you were adding a point. I didn't know to be questioned. So, I think even we see in Bhagavatam, there are many things that are, corresponding, interrelated, and happen at the same time, and we can't really connect the dots. So, I think it might be something like that only. Or as there are many moons, we don't know which moon we are talking about.
Moon is only one. There's nothing like many moons. Moon is only one. Only.
No, in different planetary systems, or maybe in different kalpas, there may be different stories, or it happens at the same time. So I don't know if any other devotee can answer this question.
And he said Sati. Sati was Dashath earlier birth actually. She was the daughter of earlier birth. This
Oh,
is
okay.
different actually. They are two,
Okay.
the names are overlapping actually. So,
Yeah, that's why I was confused.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. One I saw that Daksha gave 10 daughters to Yamraj, right? Dharmaraj. Again, we see Yamraj in Kashyap and Diti. He comes there, he's the son. So how we can understand this?
Even that was a question for me.
I think, Prabhuji, Dharmaraj is a post. It is not actually referring to a specific person. So there can be different people appearing.
Raghunan was missed his son.
That was Pranam. I just had doubt on this. In this, one of Vasu's dynasty is a Sakshusha Manu. Either same Sakshusha Manu where the Daksha Prajapati he appeared second time, or maybe different.
Prabhuji, as I've understood, it is Chakshusha Manu, one of the Manus. I think he's the same Manu that you're talking about. Prabhuji, I can't hear you. Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, the same one, same one.
Yes.
This
Prabhuji.
Sakshusha Manu and same one. Okay.
Yeah.
My one more question is, see, when these daughters, they got so many sons, you can see so many places. Then why Narada Muni is not able to make them renounce it and get back to the gods? Yeah, so many grandchildren.
So I think Daksha made sure that Narada Muni wouldn't be able to do. Daksha kept them in close quarters. I think. But I think because even Narada Muni understood that if he keeps influencing them to go into the renounced order of life, maybe the creation of progeny would never happen. So maybe he did not try this time because he had already done it once and angered Daksha. So this time maybe he didn't try to do it.
Good mental speculations.
Yeah.
I think what I feel, because Narada Muni to make them give proper instruction and make sannyasis, he needs to stay particular time, particular place for a long time. So now, since Prajapati is given Daksha is given the curse, he could not stay in a particular place. He has to leave the place immediately. That's why when he goes to, sometimes what happened, prachara going on, if continuously association is there, Narada Muni's, he could have done, anybody into sannyasis.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the Shastra says, Lavamata Shastra Sarasiddhi Hoy. Right, no?
Yes.
You are like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. First, you will give one argument with Gadadhar Pandits, and then you will refute the same argument, and then again you will come up with one more argument.
I actually already informed Shachi Mataji that this presentation will not take more than 45 minutes. It's very small chapter. It's just explaining. So she said that maybe we can end the class earlier because everyone has sevas.
Are you skipping or?
No. Actually, I had asked her because this chapter is not a 2-hour slot. It's very small. So she told that because devotees have many sevas, then we can end it earlier.
You wish you will end it. Anybody have any questions? Nice, Mataji. Thanks a lot for a nice presentation. PPT was very good, very nice, very apt. Thanks a lot, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Let's end the section. Vancha Kalpurvesha, Kripa Sindhu Bevacha. Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavi, Antakori Vaishnavanda ki jai, Gantarashi Bhavatan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitya Gaurav Mataji ki jai.